Hello there folks, this is feelz on board again, this time with a video again aimed more like towards the youth, but not necessarily and not only. This video, well, the first one, the previous one, I said it's gonna be short, but again I over deliver, so it ended up quite lengthy again. The point was, it was like the introductory video, so yeah, I kind of get it. It was lengthier than I initially wanted. Okay, now the point is, this video will cover an idea that is, well, let's call it actually very confusing to people, and well, that's actually what we are gonna dive into a bit today. What is that? Well, let's get to understand a bit what confusion actually is. Okay, so as a term of vibration, this state of existence, okay, called confusion, is, I don't know exactly how to call it. It's like, it's not the lowest vibrational possible, also it's not the highest as well, but the point with this is that confusion is actually something that is, well, misunderstood in a way. People view it in a bad way, but well, we are also not taught what exactly it is. Now, as you can understand from your own life, confusion is a state that occurs when something happens, something is told to you, but the answer seems to evade you. For whatever reason, you simply cannot understand, you cannot simply comprehend the importance or the understanding, well, let's say it actually the meaning of a certain event, a certain fact, something that happened or was told to you, or why a certain person behaved in a way. Now, confusion usually happens because of our trapping ourselves in our own mind. Okay, how we do that? Well, we do this because we kind of end up believing other people's ideas without putting too many questions. That is a sign that you're starting to have a complacent society, when people simply don't question everything they hear. And as you may well observe, people just watch the news, people watch literally any source or read anything, and they kind of take everything for granted. Worse than that, they might even fight for those ideas. Now, to move further into this, people end up having a lot of presumptions, okay, and this is something that I call almost a psychiatric disease, because people make a lot of bad assumptions. Usually many people go on the principle that they know everything, so the first impression that they build upon someone is kind of always gonna be the only one. Okay, they will most likely not change that opinion, and well, this leads to a lot of, well, unexpected results for the other people, because they will eventually feel confused. Now, it's not our point to understand um, the way how primitive people function. Well, it's kind of how I call them, people who don't understand much. Their awareness, their level of awareness is very low, but it's not necessarily their fault. Okay, spiritually speaking, they might have chosen this, and they might actually be some of the people who, through their misery, are doing one of the greatest works that this world requires, and it's called cleansing the karmic debt of humanity through their own misery. I have some videos on this, so I won't dive into this, because let's find out what the heck confusion is. So basically, confusion is when a result that you were expecting was, well, delivered in another way than expected. So if you can understand, and I'm sure you understand, confusion has to do only with the conscious mind, okay, because it is a construct of our physical existence. It is a rule of it that it must classify and overclassify and structuralize literally everything, and create all these concepts, okay, that kind of end up more like prison cells, okay, in which we limit ourselves. Now, the point is, we are removing possibility when we are giving names, because meaning is kind of a self-destruction button. I also have another video on this as well. So when you create such ideas, usually you create a lot of expectations. Expectations about other people, expectations about yourself. Now, these expectations can also vary because up to a certain age, usually 6 or 7 years, we are very vulnerable and simply we cannot defend ourselves from different ideas people throw at us. People, even your family, even your parents, school especially, will teach you that you suck. Whatever you want to do is never good enough. You know, all such things and ideas. Now, the point is, well, the point is this. When you are feeling confused, no one actually tells you what happens inside of you, okay? Now, what you're gonna tell yourself is that you're probably not good enough to understand the problem. Chances are it might actually be that, but let's not start, accusing ourselves of things because we kind of tend to do this and we do this like a lot more than we should, okay? Just because miserable people do that, you shouldn't take their example because you are here in your life, in this life, to experience life through your own prism, not through the ideas of other people. Because if you listen to other people, you attune to their minds, to their ideas, to their energies. So basically, you kind of become a replica of those other people. Not to forget that most of our ideas and emotions don't necessarily represent ourselves because we kind of pick them up from other people through our empathy, through our, um, you know, whatever we feed our minds. If you watch a lot of memes, I have a video on that as well, the dark side of memes. Um, they are usually very powerful, subconscious messages. Actually, a meme, what a meme is basically a virus, okay? And its purpose is to dumb you down. Now, I'm not saying that all the memes are evil and all the memes are bad, but if you overdo that, well, they kind of have an inhibiting aspect, and they kind of attack your ability to socialize and to correlate yourself with realistic aspects. How they do this? Well, it's very simple. When something bad happens, there will be a lot of people who are desensitized. They won't understand the reality of that fact, so they will create some fictional ideas. Those fictional ideas will come under the form of puns, and making fun of something bad is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you exaggerate with it, well, it kind of shows you are somewhat desensitized, okay? And being desensitized is very bad because the moment you start disregarding your emotions, you're technically dead, because emotions are what show you that you are alive, okay? Because when you'll be on your deathbed, the only thing that you will remember is not necessarily the events in your life. The events in your life, you will remember them because you have made attachments towards those, okay? And those attachments are emotional attachments, okay? You will remember those moments when you were scolded by your parents because you have powerful traumas over them. So there is a powerful emotional attachment. You will remember the time you have graduated school or got that promotion you wanted, or you proved everyone else wrong because you basically created a powerful emotional, well, let's not say necessarily attachments because it's not a bad thing, okay? Attachments can be good, attachments can be bad. Again, it depends how each and everyone uses them. But when you take on a lot of ideas from others, you also take their thinking styles, okay? And confusion occurs when two ideas also contrast themselves. Let's take it like this. Society, school, and your parents will tell you that you should go to church. Your free spirit will kind of tell you, at least subconsciously, hey, but why do I actually need to go to the church? Okay? And everyone will pull you down and say, hey, you actually need to go to the church because that's what everyone does. So basically, people will find you all sorts of pseudo-logical ideas, okay, to convince you that you should do specifically like them. Now, why you will feel miserable is because you are disregarding your ideas. They are going to the church because they believe they must go to the church. But what is a belief? Well, a belief means accepting something without the necessity for a proof. And you can actually see that so many people simply accept stuff without necessarily agreeing to it. So confusion occurs. Sooner or later it will occur. And you'll start wondering, why am I actually doing this? Well, the answer to such a question is very simple. You're allowing it to be, you're allowing it to happen. The way you let people behave with you is the way you invite them in your life. When you start, telling people that, hey, you know what, I simply want more time for myself, okay? Sooner or later, those people will leave from your life, because if they see that they cannot convince you, they cannot command you, okay, they can no longer unload their misery on you, well, they'll kind of, let it be, and they will seek other such people. Confusion is another thing, that can happen during spiritual awakening, okay? When people start opening up to themselves, confusion will happen because, again, two parts are contrasting. Your older beliefs that you took from other people, okay, these things will start reacting, okay? They will actually turn against you. It's a form of cancer in a way, but not necessarily physical, okay? I explained it in other videos what cancer is. It's basically when at least a part of you turns against you, but not necessarily physically. Even when you fight with yourself, when you put yourself down, when you argue against yourself, a part of you, which is that angered part of you, which is more like the influence of parasites controlling your mind to keep you at a lower vibration so that you are, still compatible with them, okay? You're fighting against yourself, and you're kind of knowledgeable of the fact you shouldn't be doing that, but because you have such low self-esteem, well, you won't necessarily have the power to counteract them. I'll also throw a video on that as well, so if I forget, do please remind me. Now, the point with this is, confusion occurs when you have great expectations, because when you don't know things that well, or when you have an oversized impression about yourself, you'll have greater expectations. And usually the greater your expectations of something are, the more confused will become when things don't end up your own way. Now, I'm not going into all the processes of the mind and how people get confused through that. I will throw probably another video at another time. Do also remind me of this if I forget, because I just want to make videos very, very short. Now, in terms of spiritual awakening, the reason why you will feel a lot of confusion is that finally things that were keeping you down are starting to shiver. They are starting to break down. They are no longer going to work, and this will also be correlated with a lot of fearful dreams, probably dreams that apparently make no sense, okay? I'll also throw another video on dreams, and I already have one, but I'll throw more as well. Also on dream symbols and dream interpretation, because that's something that I really like. So, moving on, the idea of confusion also occurs, as I said, because of spiritual awakening, when the ideas and stuff that people, stuck into your mind, and that you also took from others, simply starts to no longer work, and the parasites that are controlling those things are fighting desperately to pull you down again so that you will remain compatible with them. Because the higher your vibration goes, the less chances parasites have to actually still control you, and that will actually make you more resilient to distractions and things like the such. I think I also have a video on parasites, because that's another topic that I really love discussing upon. Okay, so the point is, usually confusion is also a good sign. When confusion occurs, it means that old habits, old things within you will simply start crumbling, because they are no longer compatible with the awesome person you are about to become. No one will tell you that you are an awesome person that came here to become the awesome person that you should be. They will just tell you to work, to, do the shitty things that you most likely do, and, live the miserable life that they have. This is called crab people. You can seek that for yourself if you don't believe me. I'm okay with that as well, because I learned the art of detachment. I'm no longer affected by what people believe about me. Still, it may bite from time to time, but I'm getting better and better at this. Now, to wrap it up, do not see confusion as something bad, okay? As I said in the previous video, trust the process and allow confusion to manifest, because when you are fighting against an emotion, you are actually pushing it back. The only way you are feeling emotions is when you have a lot of it already. So you are feeling confusion because you're already having a lot of that. So the point is, with confusion, just let it go, because by letting it go, you release it, and through releasing it, you will no longer feel it. So one of the trickiest things in this world is to actually trust the process. Whatever you are wanting to do, just work towards it, because ideas will come at the right time. You also have to learn that is a concept that I call wise patience. At certain times you will have to understand that even if you really like that thing, you will have to, quit it for a bit, okay? Because if you can't quit it, it's what I call a drug activity. You're using it as a distraction to run away from other things. Now, hopefully you like this video. I can actually speak more, but I wanted to make it very simple so that, I don't take too much of people's time. This time is actually another one of the situations in which I finally managed to do such a shorter video. Again, if you like the type of content that I'm creating, feel free to follow, feel free to subscribe if you want, or at least, and this would be much more important for me, share it with others so that together we can actually raise the frequency of the planet and the awareness of people, and remind others that everyone is on a spiritual awakening on this planet. There are people like Dolores Cannon and others who actually stated this before me. I'm kind of the next generation that has to start this, and well, some people actually have to do this, okay? Now, confusion is actually a good thing, so don't look at it as something bad. And also, the last thing I'm gonna tell you, do remember that whatever people say, usually you should do the opposite, up to certain limits, of course, and with the corresponding exceptions as well. So when people tell you that confusion is bad, or people use confusion against you to, manipulate you or something like that, that still at a spiritual level is a good sign, because you're going to learn some of the lessons you came here to learn, even if consciously you will probably not understand that, probably not even in the corresponding life. Okay, so as I've said, have an awesome day, have an awesome life, take more care of yourselves, and don't forget, become more introspective, love yourselves more. You are loved and appreciated. Ferenc on board, signing out.